Hey, welcome back. It's Jennifer J, and this is episode 108. And we are going to be talking today about just a couple of things that went on that I think are really cool, and I've been excited to share with you guys. I don't think I jumped ahead. Sometimes I do, I tell you what's happening in real time. And so I'm not sure if I actually did or not, but I hope not. It's really good stuff. In the end of April, I woke up. I think I've told you guys before that when I wake up in the night, I always ask God who I should pray for. Like, that's my first thought. I barely am conscious, and I'm like, who? To God, because I know there's a reason that He's woken me up. And He will always bring somebody to mind. It's either their face or it's their name. I hear Him speak to my heart, and I just know that that's who it is. And so I will say a prayer for them, and typically then I will just go right back to sleep. Sometimes I don't go back to sleep, and that's when I know it's more serious. And so I kind of sit up and take notice and say longer, more heartfelt, more detailed, more specific prayers. But this day I woke up, and it was like 3:30 in the morning. And I had already done all that, and I still wasn't going to sleep. So I said, just speak to me, Lord. Like, what are you trying to say to me? Like, why am I awake now in the middle of the night? Because that's not normal for me. I don't know if it is for you. My sister has a lot of trouble sleeping, one of them. But I don't. Like, my head hits the pillow. It doesn't matter where I am or what time of day. I can be asleep. And so when I wake up in the night, it's not normal. Like, something's going on. So anyway, He told me, when I said speak to me, He told me to open my Bible. And so my Bible is on my phone. I started to pick it up. This isn't my phone, but I usually pick up my phone and I'll open the Bible app, the YouVersion app. I've told you guys about it many times. And it was reading to me, and I suddenly took notice. It's in Isaiah 41, verse 9. He said, "You are my servant. I have chosen you and not cast you away. Fear not, for I am with you. Don't be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you. I will help you. I will hold you up with my right hand of righteousness." And I had been feeling, you guys, you know me, I question God all the time, like, am I on the right track? And the wait is hard. The wait gets difficult, and you start questioning things. But I just always ask God to keep me on the right path, keep my feet going the right direction. And this was just a real confirmation to me, and an answer to the prayer that I had prayed just earlier that night before I went to sleep, that I'm going the right direction. He's chosen me for this. I'm right where He wants me to be, and He's with me. And it just gave me such comfort. And it was so cool for God to speak to me like that. And so then I'm going to flip a few days here. But this was so awesome. That was awesome because I love when God talks to me. But I had gone through and read through all my legal pads. I think I might have told you guys. This seems like I might have told you guys. That when I was in Kansas, as I was sharing what I was doing and doing my partnership development, I would tell them about the part where I was writing down the word healings all the time in my prayer journals. So this is what I'm using now, but I really was using legal pads, and I had 6 of them filled. And it just kept coming to me. Between, I'm going to say December, really January, I think, and March. It just kept coming to me just randomly, and I didn't know why. And so, I'm sorry, I'm getting a phone call. Let me just decline it so we can finish. I would say to them, I need to go back and count how many times I wrote that down, because I bet it was 7. So the number 7 in the Bible is perfection. And there were 7 days of creation and different things that 7 goes around. So in biblical numerology, 7 is the number of perfection. And so I thought, I bet I wrote it 7 times. And I would always say, I need to go home and look through my journals and see how many times I wrote it down. And so I came back home and I finally was doing that. So it was like May the 1st. And I finally was going through my journals, and I did find how many times I wrote healings. But you guys, the other things I found blew my mind. Completely blew my mind. So Julie King, if you're watching, Julie, hi, who my sister had told me a year ago in March, you need to meet Julie and you need to do this April Bible devotional that she's going to do. And I did it, and I didn't know Julie at all. I didn't know Arise. I didn't know anything about what they do or anything. All I knew is my sister, who lives in Dallas, goes to church with Julie, and said, Julie's the godliest woman I know, and everything she does for Jesus is blessed, and she just really hears from God. I'm sorry, you guys, I'm pet sitting, and Rory is just whining. She wants my attention. And so she said, she feels led to do this devotional during April. It doesn't have anything to do with their church or anything. It's just Julie felt like God was telling her to do it. And so my sister said, I think you should do this with her. And so at this point, I was already in Arizona. I had just gotten here in March, and this was still March. This was the end of March. And so I messaged Julie and said, hey, can I do it? And Julie said, yes, I could. So I did. Before I ever met Julie, I wrote down on January 30th, 70 leaders. And Julie's vision, I found out later, was God had told her to raise up 70 city leaders. So this was before I knew Julie. On January 31st, I wrote down full-time ministry as a full-time job. I didn't know Julie yet, and when I talked to Julie at the end of the Bible Devo, she said, on the last day of it, she said, will you say yes to more information? And I did. And she said she had been called to raise up 70 city leaders, and she said that I could do it as a full-time job and be on staff. And so I was just like, wait, what? Like, I've wanted to do that my whole life. And then on that same day, I wrote down, am I going to heal in the name of Jesus? Because I had already been writing that down, the healings, the word healings with the question mark. And when I spoke with Julie the end of April, 1st of May, is about a year ago, she said that they heal people in the name of Jesus. And she showed me videos that she's in, that she's healing paralytic. And she told me stories of their mission trips where they had healed a blind man and just different things that had happened. So I found that incredible as well, that I had written that down in my journal before I ever knew Julie. And then I wrote down, on February the 1st, I wrote down, God blesses by funding his purpose. God blesses by funding his purpose. I didn't know Julie, and I didn't know her ministry or anything about Arise. And to be on staff with East West as a full-time missionary, I have to have partners who support me as a missionary. So people that are giving, a regular monthly donation to East West to help support my salary. So my salary not only is what I will live on, but it's also what I will use for ministry, to go on short-term mission trips to reach the lost, but also for books and study materials and stuff for these different Bible studies that I'll be doing with, right now for me, it's with aged out foster youth. But I wrote down, God blesses by funding his purpose. And that just blew my mind. On February the 2nd, I wrote down the word healing again. On February 3rd, I wrote down heal the sick. On February the 6th, I wrote down healings again. And I also wrote down, I will arise. The name of the ministry that Julie leads through East West is called Arise. I didn't know that. On March 7th, I wrote down healings. On March 23rd, I wrote down, I need a team of women. I need a team of women. Now that I am on staff at Arise with East West, I'm on staff at East West. I work for Arise, which is a department of East West. So Arise, my job is to get a team of women, 4 or 5 women, who will help me to go and share the gospel. And so I'm doing that right now. I have 2. I'm so excited. But I had written down on March 23rd of 2022, before I ever knew Julie, that I need a team of women. On February the 12th, I wrote down healing, laying hands on. And on April 25th, I wrote Arise, Preach, Heal. On April 30th, I finished the last Bible Devo. And I say Devo, people that are in church know that that's short for devotional. I shouldn't use that terminology because there's a lot of people watching from around the world, and you might not know what Devo is. So if you're not familiar with Bible studies or devotionals, Devo is just a short way of saying devotionals. But I met Julie then on that last day of April. She had said, will you say yes to more information? And if you have been watching from the very beginning, if you haven't, you should go back and watch the story from the very beginning. But if you have been watching from the very beginning, then you know that it was April 9th when my prayer breakfast was with the women's group at my new church at Pilgrim Rest in Phoenix. So it was the year of yes that year. And so when she said, will you say yes to more information? I said, yes, I will. I clicked on it, my little mouse, because I said it's the year of yes. And I actually literally said that out loud. Well, it's the year of yes, so yes, I will. And so I did. And so it wasn't until later, the following week, when I actually had a Zoom call with Julie and was able to hear her heart, hear what Arise is, hear about the healings, hear about the mission work, and the being able to be on staff, and the 70 city leaders, and all those things, which none of this stuff that I said, the healings, that had come to me so many times. I remembered that when I spoke with her. And wanting to be in full-time mission work, I've wanted that ever since I was saved back in the 80s. So yeah, I'm old. So those things I knew, right? These other things about writing down 70 leaders and I need a team of women and I will arise, I didn't catch all that until I went back looking for how many times did I write the word healings. And it was 7, you guys. I knew it was going to be. And as I'm looking for how many times did I write the word healings? And I'm finding all these other things that I had written down. And it's like I had prophesied over myself, you guys. And it made me wonder, what else? What else is in these books that I don't even realize right now? Like, it's just exciting to me to find out what else is in here. And so I just tell you all that to tell you, keeping a prayer journal is so important. And hearing from God is so cool, so freaking cool. I can't even tell you how exciting it is. And to just know that I'm on the right track. And I'm not where I need to be funding-wise. So if you do want to support what God's doing here in Phoenix, He is obviously moving. You can go to eastwest.org and look me up, Jennifer Ferguson. I'm not Jennifer J on there, but you can look me up. And if not, just pray. I need prayer partners too. I just need people to pray about what God's doing in Phoenix and with Arise and just the whole thing. It's so astounding to me what God is doing here. And so I am working on funding the Purpose. I mean, I know He's going to fund it through who He will, but I have started having partnership development meetings one-on-one with lots of different folks, and several people have already agreed to support. I'm just not where I need to be quite yet to be able to do it full time. So I'm working towards that end, and then it's exciting. I also have You know, if you watched the story, you know that OCJ Kids was the first thing that God had told me, the ministry that he was going to give me. So OCJ Kids introduced me to Thrive Arizona, who now wants me to start a Bible study with their aged out youth that have aged out of the foster system. So I'm planning to start that on May the 30th. So we are actually caught up to real time, you guys, because I'm at May 6th. I'm not sure if I'll share about that. Another answered prayer though. So I'm like in the middle of May, and it's like the middle of May. So I'm only about a week or two behind for you guys being on real time. So this is really cool to be caught up. Finally, it only took a year, right? A little over a year. But we're finally there. So as things progress, you will have live updates, current, real-time updates. So I'm also going to be sending out a newsletter, which I'm going to send my first one on May 30th. So I've got it all ready to go. I'm just adding people to the list. So if you want to be on that list, drop a comment, leave me your email, and I would be happy to include you in that list so you could get that newsletter. And I do watch my analytics, you guys, and it's so cool to see what God's doing with the YouTube channel, because like I'm using it to write the book, but he's using it. It is worldwide. I don't have all that many subscribers. There's only about 30% of the people viewing are subscribers. The rest of my viewership it's like, I don't know, 3,000 or 4,000 people. It's not that many compared to worldwide population. But still 3,000 or 4,000 that are watching this little dinky channel about what God's doing with me, and only a third of them are from the United States, which is where I'm located. So I think that's really cool. There's people in Germany and Switzerland, Italy, Greece, Romania. I think Romania actually is my second largest population country of viewership after the United States. So I thought that was really cool, because my son is getting ready to go on a mission trip to Romania this month. So that was really cool for me to see. And Italy and Norway, and I'm trying to remember, Israel was on there. Greece, did I already say Greece? There's just so many, and I'm just so thankful, and I just appreciate each and every one of you. If you haven't subscribed, I wish you would. If you want the newsletter, drop me your email address and I'd be happy to send that to you. And I look forward to sharing with you in a couple of days. Bye-bye.